Evening. So, nutrition. We're going to get a bit geeky this evening and go into things in a little bit more detail than we usually would. So, we're going to get into the facts and the figures all about nutrition. Enjoy the video. So, I don't know who that fellow was that introduced the video, but he seemed to really know his stuff, and quite a good looking fellow as well. So I'm going to take over from him and we're going to talk about nutrition. And we're going to talk about calories, okay? So this is what the main thing we're going to talk about tonight is calories and how to work your calories if you want a calorie count, okay? So we're going to go into quite a bit of detail. And as my good looking friend just said, the sciencey stuff behind it and some of the maths behind it and all of those things and how you can make it work for yourself and the really important stuff. Okay? Calories, let's start off. What are calories? What are calories? Right? So a calorie is a unit, it's a measurement of energy. Alright, so for example, if you look on the back of a packet of food and it says X amount of calories are in that, it's basically telling you how much energy that's going to provide you with, so how much energy you're going to be taking on board for you to burn, to do your daily things and to do, to basically live your life. So it's a measurement of energy. Alright? What we need to know is how many calories that you burn each day. So we're going to look at this from a really simplistic point of view to start with and really go into sort of how it relates to everyday life. So you need to work out how many calories you consume currently on a daily basis. Now you'll hear some general figures. Some people talk about 2,000 calories per day for women and 2,500 for men. Okay? A very simplistic way of looking at it, very generalised, basically saying your average woman on a daily basis burns 2,000 calories, your average man on a daily basis burns 2,500 calories. We need to be a little bit more accurate with that, and there are a lot of ways to do that. One way to do that is to look up your TDEE, and work that out. Now what that stands for is your total daily energy expenditure, and it's a calculation you use to find out how many calories you burn on a daily basis. And the best way to do that, stick TDEE or total daily energy expenditure into Google. A load of different websites are going to pop up, click on one of them, fill out all the details. It's going to ask you age, sex, height, weight, various lifestyle questions, activity levels, all those kinds of things, and then it's going to spit out a number at the end and tell you what your TDEE is. Now that is not an exact figure, okay? This is based on a lot of assumptions, and it will just give you a guide. So it's a starting point. That's all it is a starting point. It's not a magic number. Alright, but we're going to use a little example here to kind of show you how it works and how it relates. So we're going to use a fictional person. She is a female who currently weighs 200 pounds. Now she has various goals that she wants to achieve, but we'll get to that a little bit later on. So what she's going to do first off, she goes into Google, she types in TDE, she puts some of her information, and it spits out a number at the end. And in this case, for her, it does equal 2,000 calories. So what that is basically saying is that for this female, based on her current lifestyle choices, based on her current activity levels, she requires 2,000 calories per day to maintain where she is. Okay, so she won't go anywhere, her weight won't shift. 2,000 calories to continue as she is. So, her goal is to drop weight. Okay, so she wants to drop 50 pounds. So she wants to get down to 150 pounds. This is her goal. Perfect. So she's got to do a number of things here. Okay. One thing that she's got to do is reduce down her food intake. Okay, we currently know that she's sticking at around 200 pounds, so therefore she's eating 2,000 calories a day. So the question is, how much do you reduce it by? As a general guideline, as a general rule, we'd kick things off by reducing it down by 500 calories per day. And I'll show you what that's going to do. But also as a general guideline, what that's going to do for most people is bring their calories down to around 1,200 to 1,500 calories per day. Now I just want to make a point on this. Some people, even to drop weight, this figure is going to be significantly higher. Some people are much more active than others, burning much more calories throughout the day, so this figure may well be much higher for some people. However, I wouldn't go too much lower than 1200 calories. We need to look at different things. If you do feel like you've got to go below 1200 calories, short-term fixes, people go below 200 calories. This is below 1200 calories, sorry. This is long-term, this is sustainability. Don't go below 1200, certainly not below 1000 long-term. And I just want to also hammer this point home, okay, because this is really important. Old school mentality, starve yourself and you'll lose weight. This couldn't be more wrong, more incorrect, okay? A lot of people think, well, I just won't eat food, hardly eat anything, and I'll lose a load of weight. What happens there, really counterproductive to most people's goals. You will drop weight initially, but you won't ever get to your goals and you won't be healthy. You won't sustain that weight loss. Your body will actually go into a state of starvation. Now, I'm going to do another video at another point about that kind of thing because it's really, really important to people to make sure you are eating enough food, okay? When people aren't losing weight, it can be that they're not eating enough food, funnily enough. All right, if your body's in that sort of state, you need to be fueling your body. Really important. So this is the kind of general range that people are going to fall into. So for this female, we know she's currently at 2000 calories. We're going to reduce it down by 500, so that's going to take her to 1500 calories per day. Okay, so what we've done there is put her in a calorie deficit. Calorie deficit is where you're consuming less calories than you're burning. Okay, and that's the simple equation of how to lose weight. Consume less than you're going to burn. All right. If you were in a calorie surplus, you'd be consuming more calories than you were going to burn, and that's when you're going to put on weight. But in this case, we're in a calorie deficit. So we've now put her, if she starts this new nutrition plan at 1500 calories, in a 500 calorie per day deficit. Okay? So that across a week, times that by 7 days, equates to 3500 calories per week deficit, all right? And 3,500 calories happens to equate to about 1 pound of fat loss, okay? So this should equal 1 pound per week fat loss. Perfect. Okay, so just by changing her nutrition a little bit, she should start to drop a pound a week. The other thing that this lady needs to do, she needs to increase her activity levels, okay? She needs to become more active so that her body will therefore burn more calories each day. Now, there's obviously a number of ways you can do that. One of the most obvious ways is get into a UU session. Now, you'll get to a UU session, you work your ass off for 45 minutes. It is tough, it is hard, you sweat, you puff, you pant, and you really, really work hard. There's a reason for that, because you're burning a hell of a lot of calories. The harder you work and the more you push yourself, the more calories you're going to burn. In a UU session, 45 minutes, realistically, you can burn 6, 7, 8, 9, even over 1,000 calories if you really push yourself during that time. We're going to be quite conservative here. She's getting herself to UU sessions. She's going to burn an extra 500 calories a day because she's now increased her activity levels. All right, so an extra 500 she's going to burn, as well as the 500 reduction in her food, means she now has a total of 1,000 calories per day deficit, which across a week times that by 7 is now going to become 7,000 calories per week deficit, which now equals a 2 pound weight loss per week. Okay, so all we've done with this lady is we've reduced down her food by 500 calories, we've increased her activity, so she'll burn an extra 500 calories a day, and that's going to mean that she will lose 2 pounds approximately per week. Now, as I said, everything is adapting as we go, but this is a really, really good amount. We talk a lot about how much weight you should be losing a week. 1 to 3 pounds, very, very sensible figures. Shouldn't really be looking to lose more weight than that. And again, there's a number of reasons behind that. I want to do a separate video on that. But £2 a week weight loss is really good. And this is it in its most simplistic format of calories and how they work within the body and how to reduce weight. Basically, eat less than you're burning. Now, what we need to know now is how this all relates, okay? So how do you translate those 1,500 calories into the real world, okay? Doesn't want to come off, does it? There we go. Right. So now what we need to talk about is macros. Let me get rid of that. Let's get some space. So, we're going to talk about macros. Now, I've done videos on macros before, talked about them all individually, gone through those, and I strongly suggest you go back and have a look at them. I'm going to go through them in a little bit of detail here, but I go through them in more detail in other videos, and it's really worth watching. So, same female, 200 pounds, wants to drop 150 pounds. We've currently got her on 1,500 calories per day. What does that really mean? So we need to look at her macronutrients, all right, and how to split this up. So you've got your three main macronutrients. You've got your protein, fats, and carbs. So how do we portion out that 1500 calories between those three? First off, protein. Now protein is really important, super important, especially when you're talking about weight loss, okay? Because when you want to lose weight, one of the main things you want to do is lose fat, okay? We don't want to be losing other stuff, we don't want to be losing muscle, we don't want to be losing those sorts of things. When you're in a calorie deficit, protein is super important. The reason for that being, muscle requires protein, okay? For your muscle cells to synthesize, for your muscles to build, you have to be getting protein. And you have to up that when you're in a deficit to make sure that you've got enough to utilize for that purpose, okay? Protein as well, it's made up of a number of amino acids. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but some of them are called essential amino acids. You have to get them from food. Your body cannot make them itself, okay? So you have to get protein from an external source. Fats, same deal. Fats are broken down into fatty acids. Your body cannot produce those itself. You have to get them from food. Old school mentality again, fats are bad, cut your fats out your diet, you know, reduce fat, this fat, nonsense. Nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. You need fats. You have to have fats in your diet, obviously in the right proportions, okay? And that leaves us with carbs. Carbs. Now, just to make a point, now I do not want anyone going on a zero carb diet. We don't advocate zero carb diets. It's just not something that I think is sustainable. But you don't need carbs. Okay? Your body, without carbs, would find a way. There's other things that it can do to get that energy. You could survive the rest of your life without carbs. The reason that we talk about reducing carbs or being mindful of carbs is because this is the good stuff. This is the tasty stuff. This is your potatoes, your chips, your crisps, your chocolate, your alcohol, all of the stuff that people want lots of. It's the easiest thing by far to overeat on. Okay, carbs are the easiest thing to overeat on, which is why people need to be so mindful of them. But I'm not saying cut them out, so I'm going to show you now how you portion it out. Now let's start with protein. You'll hear generalised figures, you'll hear figures like 0.8 grams per kilo of body weight for protein. Now, what I'm going to show you, I don't ever tell anyone, any of you guys, to do something that I wouldn't do myself, personally wouldn't do myself, or we haven't got Mia doing, or we haven't tried ourselves, or we haven't done with many clients in the past because it just works. I'm going to show you how I'd work out my nutrition, okay? I'm going to show you how we'd work out Mia's nutrition. I'm going to show you how we'd work out nutrition for someone who's looking to get down to a really low body fat as a very, very simple starting point and example. I'm going to pop some pictures up just to show you the kinds of things that are achievable and the kind of things that we've done with ourselves. So have a little look at those and then we'll work these out. So as I say, start off with protein. Now, as a guideline, we're going to say people require 0.8 to 1.5 grams per pound, not kilo, of body weight. Now, this upper range, this 1 to 1.5, that's kind of the more extreme with the guys when they're dieting down. We're going to look at this lower end, so this 0.8 grams, all right? And what I'm going to do in this case with this lady is we're going to take this as her weight, okay? So her goal weight, because that's what she wants to be, that's where she wants to be, that's who she wants to be. So this is what we're going to take her goal weight. So we're going to say 0.8 grams per pound of body weight, okay? And we're working on 150 pounds. So 0.8 grams would total 120 grams of protein in the day. Now, just so you know how many calories that is just in protein, each gram of protein contains 4 calories of energy, okay? So 120 grams of protein equals 480 calories. So of our 1500 calories, we've got 480 made up of protein. Next thing we're going to do, work out our fats. Now, as a starting point, we usually say 25 to 30% of your calorie intake should come from fats. All right? We're going to use that 30% mark. So 30% of your 1500 calories should come from carbs, which equals 450 calories. So how many grams of fat is that? Well, basically 1 gram of fat contains 9 calories. Okay, so we take that 450, we divide it by 9, and we get 50 grams. So now we know how much protein and how many fats we're having. Basically, the rest is made up of carbs. Okay, so we now need to work out what the rest is going to be. So if we add these two together, these two calories together, and then we subtract them from the 1500, it gives us how many calories we have left over, which is 570 calories. Okay. Same with carbs. 1 gram of carb, 4 calories of energy. Okay. So this equals 142.5 grams of carbs. Now there it is, our starting point. Okay, this is our daily nutrition intake. 120 grams of protein, 50 grams of carbs, 50 grams of fats, 142.5 grams of carbs. That's what we need to be having on a daily basis. Now in order for her to see the 2 pound weight loss per week, there's some really important things that have got to happen. Okay, I can't stress this enough, this is really vital. One thing, water. Donk, 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 really important, okay? 2.5 to 3 litres a day, every day, consistently, all right? Consistently, every single day. The other thing that needs to happen is this needs to be consistent. This can't be I'll do that for 5 days and then I'll go and enjoy the weekend and go and have a blowout and then I'll do it for another 5 days. It doesn't work like that, okay? It needs to be consistent. It needs to be happening on a regular basis every single day, really, okay? Now, one thing that I want to explain is we are looking at this on a daily basis. However, if you go and have a blowout, or if you know you're going to go out for a meal or something or other, and you go way over your calories, don't panic. Okay, don't think it's ruined. I've ruined it all. I'm going to put on all the weight I've lost. You're not. You can deal with it. So, for example, let's say one day you go out on a Saturday night and you overeat. Okay, you should overeat a little bit, and you actually overeat. You eat 2,000 calories on that Saturday night. So you've gone over your 1,500 allowance. You think, oh my God, what should I do? Well, all you've got to do is draw back a little bit. So draw back. So the next day, instead of having your 1,500, have 1,300. And the following day, again, a little bit less, 1,300. And then the following day, 1,400. And then back to your 1,500. 1,500, 1,500. And as you can see, over those 3 days, you've gained back that 500 calories that you've overeaten on. So you can look at it as slightly longer term than just day by day by day by day. And if you go over on one day, you've ruined it. All right? But this needs to be consistent. The other thing that's really important is this contains everything that passes your lips. There are no exceptions. Everything that passes your lips goes into this calculation, okay? So if you have a glass of wine, if you have a gin and tonic, if you have a coffee, if you have anything at all, that's what people tend to forget. Drinks, squash, Coke, all of that sort of things goes into this equation. We see it all the time. People come to us, do you know what, I'm only eating 1,200 calories, James. Honestly, I'm only eating 1,200 calories. Here's my nutrition plan. Well, did you have any alcohol throughout the week? Well, I had a couple of glasses of wine, a little bit of gin and tonic, and I have 2-3 coffees a day with a couple of sugars, and I have this and I have that and I have the other. Boom! Before you know it, it's not 1,200 calories, it's 2,000, 2,200. It's amazing. I'll tell you what, you go into Starbucks and you have a look at some of their coffees, how many calories are in those? Wow. Make sure everything goes into this equation. And I mean everything. That's one of the points that I really, really, really want to stress. You know, you can't leave stuff out. So, that gives you a really simplistic view. Now, a lot of you are now going to be thinking, well, how do I work this out? How do I, fathom that and make that into something that's actually going to work for me on a daily basis? Now, there's a number of tools you can use. You can sit yourself down in front of a spreadsheet. And you can work it all out based on foods that you want to eat. Make sure it sort of ties in with this. You can use MyFitnessPal or something similar. There's lots of apps out there that will track things. Just make sure that the figures in there are correct. I'm going to put up an example of something similar around this mark. I'll pop up a little picture of it so you can see it, have a little look at it. What we'll also do at another time is cook a day's worth of food. Show it to you. Show you what it looks like. Okay? Even if you don't want to track your calories long term, as you can see, this is a faff. This is a faff. It's tough work. It's a lifestyle choice. It's not easy. Even if you were to do this for a week, just so you understood portion sizes, just so you knew what they looked like, just so you knew what 1,500 calories in a day was. And one more thing, a lot of people say to me, 1,500 calories or 1,200 calories or whatever it might be, oh my God, I'm going to starve. I'm going to starve. That's nothing. I can't eat that. There's no food at all. Rubbish, okay? 1,200 to 1,500 calories of good food, it's a decent amount. It's a really, really good amount of food. If you walk into McDonald's or you walk into Domino's and you go and eat 1,500 calories in there, you could probably do that in 20 minutes and then you're going to be starving for the rest of the day and you're going to be eating crap. But if you eat 1,500 calories of good, healthy, nutritious food, you're going to feel so much better. You're going to feel full throughout the day. And it really is. It's a lot of food. So don't start thinking that cutting yourself down to 1,200, 1,500 calories is actually a significant amount of food. Hope this all makes sense. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, come talk to us. And yeah, see you soon. Cheers. Boom!